Hello guys, have you ever wondered how some people easily reach 2100 ratings while you struggle to even cross 1800? Do these players have some secret strategy or are they just insanely good at the game? Well, I had the exact same question a year ago. So I started studying the players who consistently reach 2100 plus ratings every season. I've watched how they play, the decisions they make, and the small things they do that most normal players like us completely ignore. And after analyzing hundreds of matches, I discovered some very simple but powerful habits that massively increase their win rate. I started applying those same tricks in my own gameplay. And after consistently using these tips in my gameplay for 2 to 3 months, I reached 2100 ratings myself and almost got close to top 100 rank. So in this video, I'm going to share 7 realistic tips that helped me climb 2100 ratings. And if you apply even half of these tips, you can easily reach 1900 or even 2000 ratings yourself. So without wasting any time, let's move on to the tip number 1, which is never play on a bad network. I don't need to explain much here. Having a solid internet connection is the most important thing that you need to compete in a game like eFootball. If you have a solid internet connection, you already have a big advantage in eFootball. There will be no delay in passing, shooting, or executing skill moves, which makes your gameplay much smoother. Almost every top player who consistently reaches 2100 ratings has one thing in common. Their network graph rarely drops below 4 bars. Even my Wi-Fi has an upload and download speed of 300 Mbps. So I know how much difference a stable network makes in a tight match. If you have the resources, the first upgrade you should make is your internet connection. It can literally improve your gameplay more than any in-game tactic. But if upgrading your internet isn't possible, there's a simple trick. Start playing at night. When I didn't have a good Wi-Fi, I used to play at night because server load is lower and fewer people are online, which usually results in smoother gameplay and less lag. And another way by which you can avoid laggy games is by not accepting 2-3 bar opponents. So guys, let's move on to the tip number 2, which is how to avoid scripted matches. Have you ever felt like the game has suddenly turned against you? After a 5-game win streak, passes feel delayed, defenders stop reacting, and the game is favoring your opponent? Well, the game is designed to balance win streaks, but there's a trick to reduce the effect. As you can see, I've got a 30 win streak patch, something even many pro players struggle to achieve. The trick that I use to beat the script is after every 5-6 wins, I intentionally lose 2 or 3 event matches because the algorithm treats it as a broken streak. So your next division match feels much smoother and less scripted. And there's a small trick which you can apply between the games if you feel that the match you're playing is scripted. The easiest way by which you can beat in-game scripting is by changing your attacking patterns. The AI adapts to the way you build up and predicts your next move, which makes your attacking less effective over time. If your usual playstyle stops working, switch it completely. If you mostly attack through the center, start using wing play, crosses, quick switches, or long balls. The more unpredictable you are, the harder it becomes for the game to read and counter your attacks. So now I assume you have a good internet connection and you also know how to beat the script. So let's move on to our tip number 3, which is warming up before match. If you have ever tried to rank push in this game, you have probably noticed that your first match always feels much harder than it should be. That's usually because you're not in rhythm yet and your fingers have not warmed up, which slows down your reaction and gameplay. You should never start a division match without warming up. A lot of players underestimate how important warm-up actually is in this game. Starting matches with cold fingers and slow reaction can cost you easy games. Even top players take a few minutes to get comfortable first. So, before pushing rank, play an event match or spend some time in training grounds to warm up your reaction, passing and shooting. But warming up is still not enough if you don't know some tricks to score easy goals, which takes us to our trick number 4, which I like to call the injury time glitch. Remember the time when players used to abuse the kickoff glitch in PES 2020 and PES 2021? Most of the time that glitch would instantly result in a goal, causing both fun and frustration among players. Well, what if I tell you there's a similar glitch in eFootball 26 right now, and pro players have already been abusing it for a long time, while most casual players still don't know it exists. And if used correctly, it can literally give you free goals. So let me tell you how it works. All you have to do is to keep possession of the ball when the first half or the game is about to end. And when you see there is a added injury time of +1 or +2 on the clock, you have to start an aggressive attack. Your opponent's defender often stop reacting properly. The AI becomes super delayed for a few seconds, creating huge gaps and easy chances. So whenever you see added time, don't just pass the ball around carelessly. Go for one aggressive attack before the whistle. There is a high chance that you will get a goal from it. So guys, let's move on to our tip number 5, which is always observe your opponent's formation. I have seen players completely ignoring their opponent's team and rushing into the match only to lose and get dominated by their opponents. People don't realize how easily they can create a tactical advantage over their opponent just by analyzing their opponent's team and formation. Just by taking a quick look at their setup, you can already predict how they are going to attack and how you can counter them before the match even starts. For example, if your opponent is using a 3 at the back formation like me, you already know it's an aggressive setup with strong midfield control but weak defensive width. The best counter is using wide wingers and offensive fullbacks to overload the flanks and expose the spaces behind. Or if someone is using a 2 centre forward and 1 second striker combo, it usually means they will spam central through balls and overload your centre backs. In that case, using 1 defensive fullback or using a fullback as a centre back will help you neutralize the central overload. And if you see a bullet header striker alongside dangerous crossers, you already know what's coming. The best thing you can do to counter this setup is man marking that striker with the tallest centre back you have and tight mark the crossers who you think are the most dangerous. I hope you understood what I was trying to say here. So now let's move on to our tip number 6, which is never hesitate to shoot. One huge mistake many players make is waiting for the perfect chance. They only shoot when the ball reaches their favorite striker, and because of that they miss so many opportunities. In eFootball, almost every player is capable of scoring bangers. Even midfielders or defenders with average finishing can surprise you. Sometimes the most unexpected shots becomes the match-winning goal. That's why you should give the long-range shooting skill to as many players as possible in your squad. Like you can see here, my Parkji Sung scores a lot of goals for me. And what do you think his finishing might be? As you can see here, he has only 75 finishing, but I have given him the long-range shooting skill, which increases his finishing by 10%, which merely takes it to 83, which is enough for him. So instead of giving your players a lot of finishing stats, you can just give them the long-range shooting skill, which will compensate for their low finishing stats. And taking a lot of shots forces your opponent to press high on you, which opens up a lot of spaces for you. So now let's move on to our tip number 7, which is use substitution and attack defense bar wisely. This is one of those small things that separates average players from top players. Many matches are won or lost simply because one player manages their team better during the game. A common mistake newer players make is either forgetting to use substitutions or making them too late. Fresh legs can completely change the flow of the match, especially when your forwards and midfielders starts losing stamina. For me, the perfect time to make a substitution is around 60th minute of the game, and the same goes for the attack and defense bar. These settings should be used according to the situation, not kept on one setting for entire match. If you're trailing behind and desperately need a goal, increase the attack level. Increasing the attack level can help you commit more players forward and create extra chances. On the other hand, if you are protecting a lead in the final stages of the game, shifting towards defense can make your team more compact and harder to break down. There is not a perfect formula for every match. Knowing exactly when to make these adjustments comes with experience. But if you are not using substitutions and attack defense bar at all, you are giving away a huge advantage. Start paying attention to them and you will notice a clear improvement in your results.